Welcome to our daily devotion from Christ Lutheran Church in Pewaukee, Wisconsin. I am Pastor Tim Gerbing. Today we read from Mathew chapter 8, beginning with the first verse. When Jesus came down from the mountainside, large crowds followed him. A man with leprosy came and knelt before him and said, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man. "I am willing," he said. "Be clean." Immediately, he was cleansed of his leprosy. This is clearly a desperate man. Our text says he had leprosy, which in the Greek actually refers to any number of skin diseases, any kind of rash, spots, infections that might appear on the skin. Any Jew with a skin disease faced a tough road. They were to rend their clothes and cover their faces, be attentive to the fact that they were now ceremonially unclean according to Moses' law, and therefore they were to avoid any situation where someone else might become unclean because of them. And so they lived outside the city. They cried unclean as they walked along a road. They had a corner in the synagogue that was reserved for them, away from the other worshipers. And anything that they touched, any house that they entered, was declared unclean. And those people or things would then have to go through an elaborate ceremony to be made clean again. So no wonder this man was anxious to be healed. He hurries to Jesus. He throws himself to the ground, and he's fully aware of his unworthiness as he pleads to Jesus in prayer. This is a model prayer. It's short, comprehensive. He has no doubt as to Jesus' power to do what he's asking of him. But in humility, he does leave the decision and the timing entirely up to Jesus. He says to Jesus, "If you are willing." Here's a reminder to us all that it's important not only to believe right, but to pray right. In fact, whoever does not believe right cannot pray right. The heart must be certain that God is so merciful and gracious that he will gladly take away our troubles and help us. True faith has no doubt that Christ is good, merciful, and almighty. No doubt that God has goodwill toward the one who believes. No doubt that God will not begrudge the Christian all that is good for him. True faith trusts that God will hear the believing Christian's prayer and will most certainly answer it in the way that is best for him. We rejoice that God has given us such a privilege and honor, the right of every believer to approach God in prayer at any and all times, and the promise from God that every believer's prayer is heard and answered. Are you making use of this privilege given to you? Amen.